First, after a week of gaffes and missteps, the Liberals are proving to be their own worst enemy. Have David McGuinty and Justin Trudeau killed any chances of a Liberal win in Calgary Centre, or does the race still have legs? Joining me now from Toronto is interim Liberal leader Bob Rae. Mr. Rae, good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much, Tom.
Let's just review quickly these two statements that I was talking about. First of all, David McGuinty says this, referring to Alberta MPs, all of the Conservative, of course. They really should go back to Alberta and run either for municipal council in a city that's deeply affected by the oil sands, or go run for the Alberta legislature. And then 2 days later, from another prominent member of your caucus, he said this 2 years ago, but Justin Trudeau says this: Canada isn't doing well right now because it's Albertans who control our community and socio-democratic agenda. It doesn't work. So, two statements within 2 days, revealed at least within 2 days. How much has this hurt your chances in Calgary Centre?
Well, I think only time will tell. I mean, I think we've got a terrific candidate, Harvey Locke, in Calgary Centre. There's a lot of momentum on the ground. I've been talking to people over the last couple of days, and people are identifying a lot of Liberal supporters at the door and on the telephone, and we can only hope that it proves good. But look, I mean, there are there are weeks and weeks in politics, and these things happen. I think you've got to, understand also that we're living in a highly charged political environment. I mean, we have lots of statements from Mr. Harper talking about the culture of defeat in Atlantic Canada, saying that the Liberals only have support in Western ghettos in Canada. Okay. Lots of examples. These things happen on all sides.
Okay, well, let's leave the equivalency thing aside for a minute and deal with this. When you read what Justin Trudeau said, what David McGuinty said, how could any reasonable-minded Canadian not conclude that that is a window into the soul of the Liberal Party? I mean, these are two very high-profile guys. One of them may be the next leader of the party.
Why would that be a window into someone's soul any more than any other statement? I know you don't want to talk about equivalency, but you're not going to be able to tell me what to say on air. I'm telling you that
I've never tried. I could never get away with it.
A lot of people say different things. Sometimes they wish they'd said them any differently, but there's lots of ways of looking at the Liberal Party, things that, dare I say it, that I say on a regular and constant basis. I gave a speech last week on the need for a national energy strategy, which I praised Premier Redford of Alberta for the leadership that she's showing, and I think everyone recognizes that Alberta is going to be at the center of all the political discussions about the future of the country. There's so much growth and development taking place in that part of the country, and there's nothing to be gainsaid by anybody saying that it's anything but good for Canada that we see so much growth happening in Alberta and British Columbia.
I just want to leave this, but I do want to ask one more question. David McGuinty resigned his critics post as a result of what he said. Should there be any sanctions against Justin Trudeau for what he said, or is he in the clear? Does he get a hallway pass on this one?
Well, there's no such thing as a. I think Mr. Trudeau is in the middle of a leadership race, and I would think that the Liberals who are making up their minds about things will obviously be considering what he's had to say, how he responds to it, the resiliency, how other candidates come forward and state their opinions.
But he keeps his critics' portfolio?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Mr. McGuinty is a natural resources critic. And I felt that, and he, I think, concluded that it would be better if someone else was to fill that post as we deal with this issue over the next few months. But look, Tom, we're in the middle of a leadership race. I think one of the interesting questions the media might be asking is, how is it that this story about what Mr. Trudeau said in 2010 suddenly emerged on the Friday before a by-election on a Monday? Was it an accident? Was it immaculate conception? Did the reporter in question just sort of say, oh my goodness, I've just found this thing? Or did someone from the Conservative Party say, look at this, why don't we go with this story on a Friday ahead of the Monday vote? I mean, to me, it's, that's what you...
Here's the thing. We actually have been asking that question, but the problem is that he did say it, and that's why I think people are asking about it. But I want to quickly move on to one other thing here, and that is the question of whether we should be putting a price on carbon so that at some point down the road, a government can move towards either a cap-and-trade system or a carbon tax. What do you think? What would you encourage your party to decide on that?
Well,
Should
Alberta
there
and
be
British
some form of carbon tax?
Alberta and British Columbia have already indicated that they're pricing carbon. That's what BC is doing. That's Alberta's doing it. There are other provinces that are considering doing it. I thought Mr. Harper was in favor of that. I've heard Mr. Harper and many ministers, John Baird when he was energy minister, others saying that a price on carbon was a good idea. To me, I don't know how we send signals to the marketplace about how we need to conserve energy going forward unless we have a coordinated approach to carbon pricing. Ironically now, it's the producing provinces in Alberta and British Columbia that are leading the way in terms of saying, yes, we need to send a signal. So is Quebec saying the same thing. I think there's a very powerful consensus growing in the country that we need to have a national, federal, provincial approach to the pricing of carbon. I hope it very much that the premiers and the prime minister can agree on this in the months and years ahead.
Bob Rae, interim Liberal leader, thanks very much for being here as always. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.